Dear all, in this video, I'm going to give a demonstration for developing simple web application using MySQL and PHP. So I'm going to take one problem and I'm going to explain how to solve this problem step by step and what tables to be created, how the pages can be designed and what are the shortcuts available and what to be preferred for that examination. And those things I will explain step by step in this video. So the problem I have taken is the bank account management system, which is given as some model exam question for one of the section. Uh, Here in the problem statement, it will be clearly mentioned what are the tables to be created and what are the constraints to be applied and what are the pages to be designed, and everything will be given clearly in the question. So you take 10 to 15 minutes to analyze the question, read out the question, analyze the question, and identifying the pages to be designed. Clearly understand the problem first. So then you start creating the tables and designing the pages. So in this problem, the tables is given as customer, branch, and account. Three tables we have to complete. And what are the properties to be added in the table, that also the column name that also is given in the question itself. No need to think much on that. No need to take much time on what deciding what columns to be for this table. It will be given. Also, what are the primary key, what are the foreign key, and what is the constraints to be added, and everything will be given in the table description itself. So we need not spend the time on identifying foreign key and primary key. And we can save the time here. Only we need to know the query to create the table with these constraints. So mostly what the constraints asked in the question is auto generate and the primary key constraint and foreign key constraint and the not null. Apart from that, many constraints are available in the MySQL, but we may not expect that in the questions. Okay, so now how to set these constraints. In rarely some question paper for age, they may ask you to set the range constraints that we can also include, but primarily go through this one. Okay, auto generated, auto increment, primary key, and that is auto increment is the same auto generated, and primary key not null, and foreign key constraints. Auto generated means that should be incremented automatically from some numbers, like that it will be given. Okay. So this part is the MySQL part that we have to create tables. Then come back to the home page, and every table there will be a primary key. Okay, you just see that tables. And you don't do that built-in creation of the tables. Use the queries to create the table. So first we will create these tables. We complete this work, then we come back to the PHP page design. So make sure that you have started the exam server and the MySQL server, that control panel. Just I already want create. This indicate the port numbers. The default port number for the Apache 44380. Okay, if you have changed the port numbers, it will be displayed that new port number. and MySQL default port number is 3306. That both are running now. Okay, so if it is not running, you run it first for creating the tables. Then go to any browser and click on that localhost 8080. If you are not changing that port number from 80 to 8080, simply you can type localhost, or better to type localhost colon what is the port number. The default port number, remember, it is a 80. Okay, so in lab and all it will be like 8012. Okay, because IIS server is not installed, so 80 port is available. So just to what here in my system, I think the IIS server is using the port number 80. For Apache, we are using the port number as 8080. Okay, so type localhost colon 8080 and enter. So if this page is getting opened, it means that Apache server is running in the system. Okay, and go to the PHP 9 and uh, this is a MySQL server. Okay, so make sure that the boot should be on running. It is not enough to run MySQL alone to create the tables. Have to run Apache as well as with MySQL. In this left side, we can see the list of databases. So for your problem, you create a new database. Database contains a list of tables. Tables need to be created under any database. So here you have to create a database. Just click on what new and you can create. But I ask you to what use a query to create everything. So just click on the don't click any one here. Just click on the SQL tab. These are the different tabs. So just click on SQL tab. So run SQL queries on server. It means that in this server localhost we are going to execute. Yeah. So don't write the table directly. Create the table directly. Just create the database first. So create database and database name. Okay. So I'm going to create the database name as what? AMS demo. So just click on that go button here, which is presenter. So just immediately execute this query. So it is success. The mark indicate it is success. Also you can see the database. This is the step for creating a database. Meanwhile, the queries need to be what submitted. Okay. So what query you have typed, copy it and then what? You save it in a text file. Okay. So for that, first you create a folder in htdocs. Okay. Under this you can save all the required files to be submitted. Okay. htdocs, just what? Create a new folder. htdocs is a C colon exam and htdocs. Okay. Under this create a new folder like 00 AMS demo. Okay, this is a new folder which is going to be submitted. And then, okay. So this folder you can open it in a Visual Studio Code. I already opened the two windows in the Visual Studio Code. One is the solved AMS. Okay, another one is we are going to what do step by step. You take this one and open folder, not file or new file. So which folder to be opened is C colon exam htdocs and 00 AMS demo. Select the folder. Now the folder is get opened. Okay, see here, nothing will be there. You create a file. Okay, so just you type queries.txt file, because here I'm going to just what add all the queries. Okay, so here the query, first query is a query for creating a database. Add it. So we can add all the queries one by one. Okay, so next creation of tables. For creating tables, go to that, just click on the database. So because the tables should be created under any database, so we must select the database. Before that, just click on what, the database, so that here the header will be changed to what, database demo. Correct. So if it means that database is get opened, under the database no tables available, now you can create the table now. Okay, the table need to be created through the query, so you click on the query, so that if you are using the query, it will be easy for set all the constraints. So now you come to the query, a table, customer table have to create 1, 2, 3 and 4 columns, only what not name, and then this should be the auto generated, and identify the type. Contact, you can use a varchar, address varchar, name varchar. Contact, even if it is looking like a number, we are not going to do any calculations, so use the varchar. Customer ID, it is given like that 1000, so we must use the integer data type for the customer ID, and it should be the primary. So auto generation primary key, not now. Okay. So you see that the query is already created. See that I copy this. Okay, and in the SQL space, just type the code. You see that create table is the keywords. Customer is what? The table name. You be clear that corresponding database is opened. We are going to create the tables under this database or not. Okay. And then customer ID, customer name, address, and contact number. Varchar and ambient. First step is over. Then we need to set the primary key. So 4 columns, comma, 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 and the fifth one is a primary key. So just to use the keyword primary space key, and this customer ID you pass it as an argument. So primary key constraint is set, data types are chosen, and you need to use the not null constraint for all the values. Okay, all the columns you can use the not null. An auto increment, after creating table, you can set the auto increment, or during the table creation, you can set the auto increment. So just add to underscore increment in the column of customer ID. At the end of this table definition, okay, before putting the semicolon, you just use what, auto increment equal to what is the starting number. So if it is not given, this is optional one. If it is not given, okay, if it is not given, the numbers will be generated from 1 to 3. What is the meaning is, while inserting the record into the table, the customer ID is the optional one. It is need not to be given. Okay, so while inserting a record, we need to pass only 3 values: name, address, and number. This can be given as an empty, so that it will assign automatically the number. Okay, so the number starts from 0, 1000, 1001 to 3. Okay, so this is the query for creating for this table. You can copy it in your query.txt, query for creating customer table, and execute this here. So it will show that the table is getting created. You can so view the table here, customer table. The table name, even if you are using caps or mixed of capital letter or lower letter, it will be created as a lowercase letter only. Okay, customer. So you can click on the table, and if you can go to that SQL, here you can type the query for what inserting the records into the table. Usually what in the question, some of the tables they will ask you to add the records manually at the back end, not through what PHP. Okay. So this customer with the two records we have to add. For inserting record, we have to what? And the insert command, there are two different syntax for inserting and records. See that one is insert into is a keyword, okay, customer, and then we can pass the values, sorry, column names, because in the four column name, customer ID is the default, because what it is the auto increment. It is going to be generated auto increment. Only we need to pass the three values. We cannot simply give the three values alone. We must pass the value for the customer ID. Okay, so in that case, if you don't want to give the customer ID, since it is an auto increment, okay, we need to what explicitly mention the record to be created only with these three values, like that we have mentioned. So what? Insert into customer for name, address, and contact number. That column name we have to use here, and then within the values we can pass the values within a single quote. Okay, this is the one syntax. Another syntax is within the customer table we need not to pass what any column names, but while passing the values, all the four values we have to give. But in the previous syntax, only three values we have there. So second, don't change the order. Okay, second argument is a name, third argument is an address, fourth column is a number. Before that, the first column should be given as an empty. We cannot leave this as what? Like this we cannot. Okay, you must pass with what? Empty column. Even if it is an integer, you can use a single quote and no issues. But within the single quote, if you are using any alphabet, it will be a error, because the type is what? Integer. Okay, so now uh, you can copy this insert commands, okay, and execute it and browser. Okay. So we make sure that the customer is equal, and then here. Or you can sing the AMS demo, that is what click, and that is SQL. You can use this one because the customer is given. Okay, so whatever the query that will be executed under what, which database, AMS demo. Okay. So when we execute multiple queries, make sure you have given the semicolon in between the queries. Okay, we are going to execute multiple queries now. Okay. So what? Both queries get executed. It means what? The two records are added. Now you see the customer one and person two and person one is this available. Similarly, we can insert, create a new tables, branch and account in the same way. copy the same code for creating the tables, and auto increment is from 200. Branch ID is a primary key, and we need to insert three records. So we'll add one more record with B5 and B address file. So account table, you see the properties: account ID, customer ID, account type, balance, branch ID, and privilege. So we know that the data type are all account ID, customer ID, and the branch ID are the integers. Among these, customer ID and branch ID are the foreign keys. So auto increment is from 2000. Account ID is auto generated, start from the 2000. Privilege is as a varchar, it is a string. Branch ID, customer ID, account ID are the integers. The balance is a float. So we have set the balance as the default value as 0.0. It is not asked given in the question paper, but we can set. So this is these three columns are setting primary key and foreign key. The foreign key is customer ID reference to the customer ID of the customer table. Branch ID refer to the branch ID of the branch table. So both are the foreign keys. So copy all these queries and go to the browser. Yeah, select the database, go to the SQL and copy it. So all the queries are separated by the semicolon. Now you can click go. So all the queries will be executed one by one, so that the tables are created. Account, branch and customers tables are created. Some records are inserted into the branch and the customers. So this is a way to create all the tables. We practice with what creating tables. The next video we will discuss how to create the PHP pages for the tables. Thank you.